Hi, thank you for this opportunity. Today I'll be speaking on medical NLP via experts. My name is Hugo Altamirano. I'm a physician. My background is as an anesthesiologist, and at iMerit, I'm a medical physician solutions architect. And what we do at iMerit is we essentially scale projects with experts. So, in terms of moving through the slides, in terms of next steps here, we are going to cover the problem. We know that there's large amounts of unstructured data in the healthcare arena, and we'll talk about how the impact of the evolution challenges in AI mean for experts. Um, I'll follow that with the challenge in terms of scaling with experts, having that requirement as a baseline, the solutions and how we actually execute these uh, to achieve quality, efficiency, and refinement for both the model and the workflow process. And then I'll just close with some key takeaways. So the problem, now I mentioned that the AI systems themselves are evolving. So we are experiencing the the solution to what we've encountered with large data sets, which means that the AI models we are coming across in terms of helping us with weak supervision, for example, filter out a large amount of data that we would normally have to annotate. And now that we don't have to annotate this, it leaves this noisy data set where we can save time, be efficient, and use our experts more efficiently. So, but that presents another problem where also this large corpus of data continues to grow and is backlogged as well. Also changes the how these algorithms work, creating a continuous need for a life cycle improvement. So I'll touch on that as well. Here is a charts showing how the AI system, in terms of basic language processing and understanding, beats human performance. When we take a look at more complex language, we see how the AI system still falls short. The important part is to understand and realize that this is happening over several years, as you see in the x-axis there. So we continue to see advancements. We'll need to this will need to this shows a need for continuous um, or more experts, the use of more experts. So why are we so concerned, and why are we so focused on this? So healthcare data is essentially not being leveraged to its fullest potential. Since it's not structured, the result is that we're not recognizing, we're not able to use patterns and complex relationships to its fullest ability. Traditionally, we've doctors in medicine, healthcare, there has had a tremendous amount of um, uh, history with using paper and writing. We've transitioned to computer systems to further help patient care and communicate. Now we have this ability to further leverage this data to draw complex relationships and to assist in many different ways that I'll touch on as well here next. So the challenge with scaling with experts is that they're several fold. The experts will need to understand the AI ML models. So these domain experts are not necessarily familiar with and likely not familiar with AI or ML models and their development. They are domain experts within their field. They're physicians within cancer research, for example, or they are nurses with bedside clinical expertise that are used to seeing these the clinical aspect of it, the notes, the um, th- um, their specific expertise. So um, we bridge those gaps. We help them understand what the AI model essentially is looking for, and um, we go through a training process. Additionally, another challenge is that these experts are also a rare resource, which means that besides being much more expensive, they are also hard to get in terms of time. And we are able to um, leverage a large workforce to get the appropriate expert as well as um, able to get their time as needed. Additionally, the user experience efficiencies are a significant factor. The experts themselves are used to computer systems, they're the computer interface. They're not used to AI labeling, ML model labeling tools. The interfaces are usually much different, and they are not designed for streamlined workflows. So that's something else that we really engage our experts with and train them. Where do we need our experts, and where are we seeing um, quite a bit of need for these uh, experts? We see them in real world evidence and robotic process automation. Real world evidence I break down into two categories, both in pharma and clinical decision support. In pharma, the NLP structuring of the data there connects um, the data that we're seeing in real time from patient outcomes and experiences, connecting that with EMR, for example, uh, connecting them with what medication they're taking, the actual progress, the disease progress, whether the resolution or um, uh, the improvement, the worsening, and it improves the pharmaceutical um, development and safety there as well. In terms of clinical decision support, we see that the uh, one patient's experience and progress can also benefit another patient's experience and progress. So uh, we see it there. This setting is also high risk though, so the room for error is very low, and so there's definitely a high demand for experts in this specific area. In terms of robotic process automation, this is something that occurs in the back end, and I actually see it pretty commonly now. It's a more simpler NLP, but it's also becoming even more and more complex, especially as we focus down to the insurance industry point there, where in terms of getting the accurate diagnosis and charting to match what the insurance company is looking for is another area that we are using experts. So the solution, how do we achieve quality, efficiency, and refinement? So we target domain experts where they are, they've been in their field for any given amount of time. Occasionally, somebody who's new in their field can address basic can have a basic understanding of their field and be successful for their project. Occasionally, we need somebody who has 5 years, 10 years, or more, or is uh, a leader in their field, an SME. So those people can be specifically targeted and trained up and to have this NLP experience to really understand the guidelines and be able to give actually some feedback. This will follow with our strategy. So we do have a strategy to target um, these individuals, understanding that their background is far different from, or it can be far different from what they're typically used to, and bridging those gaps. getting feedback from them in terms of what they need to understand the tools, understand the guidelines, and further clarifying with them and providing understanding. And in terms of the execution, we will leverage these experts to best suit the project. So, something that will be very beneficial for any specific project is where the expert comes in. And occasionally, it can be so complex that maybe multiple experts are needed to come to a consensus. This typically does happen in medicine where physicians can have a disagreement, but it can also happen in any general, just complex topic being covered where there's a consensus needs to be made. Also, we can use the expert at a QC level where a baseline trained uh, medically focused annotator can do a first pass, and a domain knowledge expert can come and QC and doesn't have to lose time going through every single annotation, but can serve as a QC role and be very efficient, and that way leading to really great quality. Uh, the added benefit of having a domain expert is they will be able to give feedback on the data presented. Occasionally, we do come across data that is inaccurate or needs or is not appropriate for the workflow, and we can quickly give back feedback in that sense. Also, there's edge cases that come up, and they can be involved with further refinement of the guidelines of these edge cases. So now, in terms of key takeaways, how do we have success? We stick to the process. We screen our candidates. Not everybody, not every domain expert can be a great uh, NLP annotator. We go through a training process where these experts, like I've mentioned before, we take them through um, a phase where we listen to them as well. So that part of understanding where they come from, where what their understanding is, and teaching them what the NLP um, uh, guidelines mean, and which can be very different from the medical perspective, and aligning well with what the project needs. The workflow design I've mentioned before. How do we fit these experts in? And we are um, very specific towards the workflow. So we can occasionally use multiple experts to come to a consensus, or we can insert them at a QC step. The feedback cycles are very important. This leads to further guideline refinement and um, model development. So that is our secret to having great success and great quality. Um, Thank you. This has been a great opportunity. If you have any questions, I'll be available in the chat.